Welcome to the inaugural episode of Dinner at Joe's. Tonight we're going to be cooking tableside. I'm going to show you how to cook beautiful steak Diane, or steak Diane as it's also called, and how to do it at the table in front of your guests. This is a great dish to do for special occasions for your significant other or your special someone. Nice for a holiday, and a just nice thing to do because it's fun. And when we come back, we're going to get started on our recipe, but what we're going to do first is we're going to start with looking at the basics, Table Cookery 101, and this is going to be the first segment of our Table Cookery series. And going to talk about table cookery and the equipment, so we'll see you when we come back. Tableside Cookery 101, and this is the first installment in our series in tableside cookery and tableside drink making. This is part one. We're also going to delve into fondues. We're also going to, in a later episode, delve into tableside drinks, especially flaming coffee. But today we're going to look at the basics for tableside cookery. And we're going to look at the savory side of it. There is also the sweet side of it. But first of all, the most important thing you need is a table cooker, a tabletop burner. I have two of them. The one I have in front of me is a real old school, heavy tabletop burner. And to protect it from the table, I have put this old brass charger on top of a cork trivet, and then we just place it on top. And this requires sterno, just like so, can of sterno, and it can be lit like so, and you just light it and it goes underneath like so. But we're going to extinguish the flame here. I also have this wick fuel, which also works. This is often good if you're going to do flaming coffee because it's a wick. It's going to be a little less intense heat than the sterno. The other type of implement you can use, I'll pull this one out of the way, is an old school buffet burner. This is a classic one. I do have the thing installed in here and always have extra. And to use this, place it in here. You will see where it fits in. You just slide it in. It's a butane canister. Close the lid, and then just push down hard. And now it's engaged. And then all you do is you turn it on, and it lights. It's very easy. Okay, we've looked at our heat sources. And also pertaining to, we're going to go into that in a second. Next, we're going to talk about cookware. And I'm going to bring back one of these so we can just use it for illustration purposes. But you're going to need a skillet. And the real old school would be to go for a piece of copper cookware. That's a nice piece right there. You might want another piece. This is a real classic one here. This is made by Moviel. It's heavy. It looks cool, and it'd be nice for doing crepe Suzette for two people in here. I don't right now own a Suzette skillet, also known as a flambe pan, but those are a very worthwhile thing to have. And that's copper. And copper is a nice way to go. But I think for savory, stainless steel is your best option. This is an old school Cuisinart piece. It's got a wooden handle, so it looks attractive. It's a nice looking piece there. This one, it's a great piece made by Moviel. And this is good for making steak good for making a single steak at the flambéed steak at the table. I also have this other one, also made by Moviel. This is good for steak for 2 people. And I have another piece here. Salad. Often salad will be made table side, especially spinach salad. And I think this is one of the best pans for making spinach salad. Because in this pan here will go your hot bacon dripping. And it will be heated and kept hot. And the spinach salad itself, when you make a hot spinach salad, you toss the spinach with the other components of the dressing, and then you drizzle the hot bacon dripping over the top, and you actually use the pan as a lid, and it wilts the spinach leaves. So that's the other use here. This is also good if you're going to do pasta, a skillet pasta at the table where your pasta is pre-cooked, and you're making a sauce, like if you want to do pasta primavera, or a simple Alfredo, or simple sauces. You can do pasta at the table as well. Let me get rid of those, and I'll take these out of the way. Put it here. That's the main things you need to have. You also need to have, for performing flambe, you need to have a lighter. This is a kitchen lighter. It's a stick that lights real easily. Or you can go old school and use matches. Either way, it's fine. Make sure, also, because we're dealing with flambe, make sure you have a lid that can easily be slid over the skillet if the flames get out of hand, or if you want to keep something hot. So you have the lid. You're also going to need a trivet. Once something is cooked, you can pull it off the heat and set it right on the trivet, and then you can serve. These are metal enameled cast iron trivets, but these cork ones from IKEA are also very good. You're going to need implements to cook with, and you're going to need implements for all your ingredients. This is a real classic way to go, is to use a fork and a spoon. It allows you to turn ingredients in the skillet and saute. This is my personal favorite here. It's this stainless steel spoon that's got a wider bowl, and then a nice brushed stainless fork. This is my favorite tools. If you're doing a flaming dessert, you might want a large spoon like this to spoon onto the plates. This is another fork and spoon that you might like. You also may need ladles for sauces, and I have different ones here. You're also going to need spoons for various ingredients. And this is another ladle for sauce, if you like. And maybe you're cooking small little pieces of fish, so a little spatula like this is good to have. And pour spouts. If you want to do your alcohol from the bottle and you want to use a pour spout, you can. I don't think it's necessary to really use it unless you really want to. These are gravy boats. Great for sauce, but also good for dosing out alcohol if you don't want to pour directly from the bottle. Nice little porcelain pitchers of different porcelain gravy boats, and these porcelain pitchers. Great for adding liquid ingredients, all of your chopped ingredients. This is also another porcelain style pitcher, great for sauce as well. You can get these little footed sherbet dishes, great for ingredients as well. You're also going to need salt and pepper, and I recommend the grinders personally. And then you have plates for laying out your ingredients. And you have beautiful white plates to serve on. And I think white plate is ideal because what you're making is going to be nice and colorful. That's what I would go for. And then underneath all of this, I have a silver. I have my Alessi tray here. You want to arrange all your ingredients and everything beautifully on a tray. You're also going to want to use a tablecloth of some kind. That's also very important because you want to make what you're doing look attractive. It's very important that everything looks presentable. And then when you're performing tableside cookery, this is for a special occasion, for your special someone, a significant other. Do this for special occasions, or if you want a treat at the end of the month. It's a nice thing to do, and it's just lovely. And that's all for our introduction to tableside cookery. In the future, we're going to have an episode on fondue specifically. We're also going to look at dessert, flambe as well, and flaming coffee and flaming drinks. And how to serve buffet items utilizing portable burners and things of that nature. Show you how to set up buffets for hors d'oeuvres and stuff of that nature. Have fun. Welcome back to Dinner at Joe's, and we're going to get started on a recipe here. First thing we're going to talk about is our steak. This is a rib steak. This is a New York strip steak. It's a choice New York strip steak. There's no point in having it super fancy. And what I have done here is this came from one steak. I had the butcher cut me one steak about 3/4 of a pound, and he cut that steak completely in half for me. And I have pounded it here to about 1/2 of an inch and removed the little piece of fat on the end and also removed the silver skin. So that's what we have here ready to go, and it's already been seasoned with sea salt. The other ingredients we have here today is we have clarified butter, some shallots. What I have here are green peppercorns. And what I've done with these green peppercorns, they come dry as you can see here. And what I have done is I have poured 3 tablespoons of boiling water over them and allowed them to sit for 10 minutes just to hydrate them. That's what I have here. We also have some Dijon mustard, nice strong mustard. We have some demi-glacé, veal demi-glacé. You don't have to make this homemade. You can buy decent concentrated versions of it in higher end supermarkets, and it's very easy. You just mix it with water, bring it to a boil, and that's what we have here. We also have some Lea and Perrin sauce, Worcestershire. We have some lemon juice, parsley for the end, and we're going to be performing some flambe here, folks. So I have here some brandy and some Harvey's Bristol cream sherry, which gives a wonderful flavor. You could also use rainwater Madeira or dry Marsala or even sweet Marsala here, which I'm only going to use a little bit. And I do have a garnish here of some roasted potatoes to serve on the side. We have our plates here ready to go. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on our burner to high. We want to heat the pan up pretty hot. And we're going to heat it with a teaspoon of our clarified butter. And just swirl the pan around here. And you're going to see veils in the butter, which lets you know that it's getting ready, getting hot. So we're going to wait for those veils, and we want this butter to be pretty hot because we want to get a good sear on our steak. Because we're cooking this all in real time, folks, so everything's going to happen. Just continue to let it. You don't want to use regular butter here. You want to make sure you use clarified butter because if there's milk solids in here, those milk solids will burn. And I'm seeing a little wisp of smoke. So we're going to slide our steak into this pan here, and we're not going to touch it. We're going to let it crisp. Color on that side. I'm going to adjust down the heat just a little bit here so that we can control our flavor. And you don't want to touch it because we want that nice sear on that side. Then we're going to flip it over and sear the other side. You just got to give it a second and then it will dislodge itself from the bottom of the pan. Let it cook. Now we'll check it on that side. This is a thin piece of meat, so it's going to cook very quickly here. Going to let it go just a little bit longer. This dish was invented utilizing venison, but I personally prefer to make this with beef, which is how it's mainly made here in the States. And you will often also see this made with a rib steak. Nice ribeye steak that's often pounded. And often the steak will be pounded a lot thinner than I have it here, to about 1/4 inch. I like it here at 1/2 inch because I like a little more substance on my steaks. And now we're going to flip it to the other side and let it cook. I also have a little cup here because we're going to dump off any of our excess grease, that's any of our excess used clarified butter in here, because we don't want to have any of the old, the beautiful old fat, old grease in here. And once this dish colors on the other side, we're going to be done here. I'm actually going to shut the burner off. And just let it finish here without any heat. Okay. Just need a few more minutes. Now we're going to pull out our steak and it's going to go onto our plate here. And next we're going to pour off our little accumulated old grease, but you want to make sure you leave, just wipe the side here. Now you want to leave all the goodness in there. Now we're going to turn our burner back on and we're going to build the sauce. Over high heat again. We're going to put a little more clarified butter in there. Now we're going to put in chopped shallots, about 1 tablespoon worth of chopped shallots in here. And we're going to turn this down because we don't want to burn the shallots while they cook. And just let them cook. The shallots need to sweat before we perform our flambe. And the shallots are cut into brunoise. It's very important that the shallots are cut into tiny little pieces. Now to perform our flambe, I'm actually going to use this kitchen lighter here because I like it better than matches. This is easier to use. We've got our shallots here. We're actually going to take our brandy. Off the heat, we're going to pour in our brandy. We want about 3 tablespoons worth. Now we're going to let it do it the funny that way. Okay? So that's our flambe. Now we want to make sure we burn off the alcohol. And this is important because it's going to leave the flavor of the brandy rather than letting the, there we go. Now that that's done and it's boiling, we're going to add the demi. I'm not going to put all this in here. I'm going to put about 4 ladlefuls. Give it a swirl. And now we need to start seasoning. We're going to put a little black pepper in here. We're going to add a little salt. And we're going to turn our heat way down. We don't want to overcook the sauce. Next, we're going to add in our green peppercorns. We're going to add in our Dijon mustard. We need about a teaspoon of it for flavoring the sauce. And a few shakes of Lee & Perrins sauce, which gives wonderful perkiness to this recipe. And then with the bowl of the spoon, we start working the sauce like so, swirling the pan and using the bowl of the spoon to get everything combined, and it's going to smell wonderful. Okay. Now we're going to turn back up our heat a little bit here. And the next thing we're going to add is we're going to add our sherry in here. We want maybe about a scant tablespoonful of our sherry in the sauce, which will give it wonderful flavor and add a little sweetness. And then finally we have lemon juice. Just a little bit to perk everything up. Smells wonderful. Now we're going to turn it down. We're going to retrieve our steak and put our steak back in. And we're also going to pour any accumulated juice back into the skillet. Now we're going to turn this up all the way. And we're going to baste the steak in the sauce. And just allow everything to heat together. And now I'm going to shut the heat off. And we're actually going to go with one of our plates. And I'll show you how to serve. Put this back here. Grab your plate, slide underneath, and then just make sure you wipe your plates. You want to make sure your plates look nice. And then we'll spoon sauce on top. You don't want to overly sauce it, better to leave some sauce behind. And last but not least is our garnish, which is our potatoes. I've just made some simple roasted potatoes with clarified butter and thyme, salt, and pepper. And these are nice roasted fingerling potatoes. They go nicely with this. You could also serve mashed potatoes. Or even gratin potatoes. Beautiful. And last but not least, on the top, we're going to put the parsley on the top. And there you have it. That's your beautiful steak Diane. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Dinner at Joe's. On the next episode, we're going to tackle another tableside preparation. We're going to do steak au poivre. Until then, have a good night. Cheers.